What up, everybody? Blade the Scholar Magic. And before we start the deck tech, I just want to let you know part of this video. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to spin a wheel, and I want to get you started on your own Aragorn deck. So I'm deciding to include this. Simply comment on this video. This will be a one of. So, yeah, and then we can track the comments. And I'm going to be giving away all these sweet cards that are just going to be like fantastic for your Aragorn deck. So you're going to get a beautiful Aragorn the Uniter foil here from Lord of the Rings. A Serac Dragonclaw. This is a nice 6/6 human trampler. He'll also be in the deck we talk about. I'm also giving away a Tri-land here, which is kind of definitely a step up from a budgety option. You can definitely run a three-color land in here. That's very nice. Doors of Durin, fantastic. Definitely on the more budgety side. And these other two lands are kind of budgety options too, just these nice slow lands. One which is a borderless. So I believe we have 6 cards here. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Have about like a $20 value or so. And yeah, simply comment on this video. Say what's up. Let me know your favorite Aragorn card. And in 2 weeks' time, we'll spin a wheel. And I'll send you these cards. Fantastic. And I hope you enjoy Aragorn. So without further ado, this is a budgety, kind of in mind type of deck. It did not exceed $100, and I did battle test this in the Brawl format, and it's fantastic. I just think you guys would just love this deck, and it's just a very good value commander overall. We can run legends here. There's not too many expensive ones, and you know what you'll notice about the legends is that they just all do really multi-level things that typically you wouldn't see. Like there's legends that will disrupt or take out artifacts. There's lots of legends that will fight other creatures just simply by entering the battlefield. So they have a lot of functions of removal that usually you wouldn't see on creatures in general, and it's just very common for them to just do lots of things at once. So it's very fitting that this commander also does similar things. It just does a variety of things. Simply when it gets on the battlefield, it just starts kind of being like a menace to your opponents. It can pump up your other creatures by just simply casting green spells. You can do damage to people's faces by casting red spells. You can scry 2 by casting a blue spell, and then you can make a 1/1 if you cast a white spell. If you play spells or cast spells that have 2 or more colors, for instance, you'll get both of those modes. If you have certain creatures in your deck or cards in your deck that have all 4 colors at once, it will trigger all of Aragorn's modes upon being casted as well, as long as Aragorn's on the battlefield. So just an amazing 5/5 creature here for 4 mana. I think you're just going to absolutely love this card and deck in general. One of my favorite cards that you have to check out for this particular deck is Eowyn, the Fearless Knight, and this is a perfect example of cards that just do a lot. And perhaps more than they should. And I do think this is kind of a sleeper card. Perhaps you might want to go in that piggy bank and maybe pick up a couple of these because they're very cheap, very affordable, and it's a fantastic card. It's a 4 mana 3/4 with haste. When Eowyn Fearless Knight enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with greater power. Legendary creatures you control gain protection from each of that creature's color until end of turn. Not only will it take out a higher powered commander or a creature on your opponent's side, but then you'll gain protection from that. Your other legendaries will gain protection from that color till end of turn, which is just an amazing way to get in for some damage, isn't it? So fantastic card. Another beautiful card that you're just going to love, and it's also very cheap to purchase, is Galta and Mavrin. And this, oddly enough, if you can really get cooking with a Fanatic Aronas on an early turn cycle, you can have this down turn 4 or so. And it's really nasty to get it down kind of that fast, because typically what will happen is you'll have Aragorn on the battlefield, and then you'll cast the Galta and Mavrin, and then Aragorn will turn into a 9/9 and be able to attack, of course. And attacking with that 9-power creature will create those 9/1/1s of vampire creature tokens. Or if you really want to get really offensive, you can create a 9/9 dinosaur that's just going in against an opponent, because it basically sees the attacking power once this is on a battlefield of a creature control when it attacks, and it will simply have these modes because you simply attach with that powered creature. I think in some instances, like in Brawl, I typically go for the 9/9 in that manner, but man, creating 9/1/1s in this particular deck in general is going to be fantastic. Let's look at, for instance, a card such as Jetmir, which we'll be looking at as well. There's also some other creatures that just have synergy in making like lots of tokens. So I just wanted to kind of feature also Nimpakal, a human soldier that when it attacks, whenever you attack in general, you'll put a 1/1 counter on a Nimbakal and then create X 1/1 colors gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on a Nimbakal. A really interesting card too. So just like another one that's going to create like lots of bodies. And also, I just want to kind of mention Ginny Fey as well. And this is another legend that's going to kind of audit our tokens. So perhaps we want those gnomes to be a little stronger when they come on the battlefield. They can become 2/2 green cat trigger, 2/2 green cat creature tokens, or 3/1 dog creature tokens with vigilance. So that's a really cool thing. And you'll notice that a lot of these cards are just amazing with Aragorn because they'll trigger all 3 out of the 4 modes like immediately upon being casted. And they're just like mostly easily to cast. Like they can just like kind of have a variety of mana to cast them. And then the last kind of like tokeny card I wanted to feature before we get to the real Papa token payoff is Ubun, the Muldaya ancestor. And this is a Vaughn recommendation, and I am a believer, especially in Aragorn. I mean, we're gonna get most of the modes, and we're simply going to make this stronger. We can put the power on Ubun when we play more green spells with Aragorn on the battlefield. And then simply put, we're going to be able to animate a land that's going to have that same power as Ubun. And also just as more lands enter, this thing will get stronger too. So it's just a very cool card for the deck, a very cool legendary take on this Aragorn deck in general. And of course, if we're looking for those, turn 5 wins, as you would say, I would see like no, greater, extent to look than Jetmir Nexus of Rebels. You can imagine a Galton and Mavrin coming onto the battlefield here and creating like, those 9/1/1 vampire tokens. And then all of a sudden you've reached the criteria for the last mode, which is creatures you control also get 1/0 and have double strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures. They will basically be 3/0 in that manner because they've reached all the criteria of having the 3 or more, then the 6 or more, and then the 9 or more. And they'll have trample as well. So that's like a really nice finisher. They'll have vigilance, trample, and double strike in the 3/0 buff, simply for just putting those many bodies on the battlefield. So this is one of our splurge cards, and it just kind of fits for the deck. And we were able to fit right on that $100 mark. So Jetmir is just absolutely amazing, and I definitely would love for you guys to check out this legendary stuff. It's just really great. You're gonna love it in Aragorn. 5, obviously. You have your Joda piles of the world where you get 5 colors, but I'm a fan of Aragorn. Just kind of the idea of the power that it can kind of bring to the table and some of the synergies with some of these cards. Winota is also a really interesting card in general. It's like a human payoff and non-human payoff in the same time. So if we swing with non-humans while this is on the battlefield, for each instance of those creatures that attack that are non-humans, you get to look 6 deep into your deck. And if you reveal any amount of humans from there, let's look exactly what it says. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. So 1 from those 6. But if you have multiple instances of the non-humans attacking, then you can keep looking at the next top 6 of cards. So you just, you're kind of cycling through all those instances, and each time you find a human in that top 6, it's coming on, and you can decide which one you want to pick of those 6 from the ones that you've seen. Then they just come right on the battlefield, and I believe they're indestructible too. So that's really cool as well. So that's just a really cool human payoff, just to have a good amount of humans in your deck, and also kind of a nice balance so that you have those non-human creatures in your deck, and you have a chance to trigger Winota when she comes on the battlefield. So we can kind of illustrate this. So basically I have, these 6 humans. Just imagine we stacked our deck here, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards from the top of your deck. In this instance, if we revealed all these 6, we would pick a human from this pile here, and it would simply be tapped and attacking, just like so. So it's just a really cool, strong card. Even people in CEDH play it, so obviously has implications in that. So it is one of our other like very strong cards that we include in the deck. And now we can just go over all the humans. I thought it'd be really interesting just kind of like after Winnow to kind of show what we're working and cooking with the humans in general. So we have a Catilda, which is just beautiful with Aragorn. It will turn Aragorn into a mana dork, and all the tokens the Aragorn creates, which are human creature tokens, those ones, those can actually start producing mana because they are considered a color. So that whenever you cast a white spell, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. So that's really amazing because with Catilda, human creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any of this creature's colors. So that's really kind of fantastic stuff, isn't it? So I'd say Catilda is like probably in like the top tier, like Aragorn stuff, where you're like creating like a really nice abundance of mana and synergizing with that kind of mana potential, and it will trigger Aragorn very well too with the green and the white mana cost. So just really fantastic. It has a mana sink, taps 6 and a tap, putting 1/1 counter on each creature control. That's fantastic too. Ruby is just really nice mana dork. She can also start getting in for damage, maybe if you exhausted her mana abilities. So we just love her too. Just really great Aragorn card. Melira, the Living Cure. This can be sacrificed or exiled. It has the ability to be exiled. And then we can choose a creature or artifact. If it's put into graveyard this turn, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. That's fantastic as well. Really good insurance. Functions similarly for Hajar, where this one simply will be sacrificed. Sacrifice Hajar, loyal bodyguard, legendary creatures you control get 1/0 and gain indestructible until end of turn. Really good rule finisher, really nice stats there for 2 mana. And just that like sacrifice buff, and also they all gain indestructible. That's crazy. What a cool card. I love that card. It's a fantastic card, guys. This one's also like really like effective for any format. Like Rella the Magpie, she's nasty. She's like she's like the spirit Skyclave, one of the Skysclave cards from was it Zendikar, I think. But it's like it won't exile that card, when it eats it, as I would say. So when Lagrella the Magpie enters the battlefield, exile any number of other target creatures controlled by different players until Lagrella leaves the battlefield. Like they'll get it back as it is. It won't become like a token if it comes back, which is interesting. When an exiled card enters the battlefield under your control this way, put 2 1/1 counters on it. So you can actually get your own stuff under here too, which is kind of if you want to be more intentional about a deck build with that, and you love enter the battlefield triggers, that might be something you're into. But overall, this is just going to be as like acting as removal for us. It's going to exile any number of other target creatures controlled by different players until Lagrella leaves the battlefield. So it's like 1 instance for each player. So it's really cool. It's just like, it's kind of annoying actually, if you think about it. It's going to hit tokens really well because they won't get those back. But yeah, it's just kind of like a prison effect in that manner. All right, here's Shanna, the Purifying Blade. Really interesting card. I feel like when I have some good setups with Aragorn, Shanna is kind of always ready to kind of like bring home the bacon because she can get stronger and we can start drawing cards off her. And she's just like a really good threat in that manner. So lifelink, at the beginning of your end step, you may pay X. If you do, draw X cards. X can't be greater than the amount of life you gained this turn. So say, for instance, we gain 7 life. We could pay up to 7X if we had it available and draw 7 cards. Any amount of that up to 7. Here's General Ferris Rockrick. This is a 3 mana 3/1, hexproof and monocolored. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, create a 4/4 red and white golem artifact creature token. That's crazy. We have plenty of freaking multicolored spells in this, so it's really good. Here's Lauren of the Third Path. She just is a good disruptor. Enters the battlefield, destroys up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. And Vigi, And then with a tap, you can be political. You and target opponent each draw a card, so we can get some cards in. I think it's always like nice just to kind of get some extra gas. And like I said, you can be like nice with someone, like, hey, I'll give you a card, you know, like leave me alone for a little bit. Let me do my thing. And yeah, she's just very good at that. Once again, these cards are all dirt cheap. You can have the same deck that I'm showing you for $100, which is crazy. This is a deck that can like win on turn 5. Like I said, like with a Galta and a Jetmir, you're just going to have like basically, you know, up to, I mean, as you cast green spells too, I mean, you could have so many attackers. It's going to be kind of obnoxiously strong. So yeah, I think it's a very cool deck in general, and it functions this very well. Here's Sarah Farron, and this one's a very interesting card where the first legendary creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast, so very fitting for our legendaries. And then it has a flip side. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more other legendary creatures, you may transform Sarah. And she'll turn into this. I think it's a must. I think it's must, right? Oh, it is. It's a May. It's still a May. But I think you probably are going to want to do this. The first legendary creature spell you cast each turn still costs 2 less to cast, and legendary creatures you control get 2/2. Very cool. Very interesting card. It's like Urza's Incubator for your legendaries that can bring a buff. Very cool card. Here's Eshki. I definitely was more biased towards humans. They were just like in the sweet spot of mana, not too much, not too bad. Like 4 to 5 mana. This one is just kind of a nice filler because it's going to be like, you know, it's going to help us get some Winota triggers too, you know, as we're digging through our library. So that's always a good thing. And this is just an interesting card because we will have some non-creature spells. And I just like the idea of having like a Vigilance Trample card that kind of can get in with Aragorn and like get stronger and draw cards. It's very intriguing to me. This card it's always played pretty well when I played against it too. Halana Lena is like one of those really nice kind of accessory cards that doesn't really look good in most decks, but it does look really good in Aragorn. And the reasoning why is that you can buff up Halana Lena with Aragorn's passive ability to have 4/4 go-to creatures upon casting green spells. So you can make Halana and Lena basically, you know, a 6/7 prior to combat. And as you move to combat, you can go ahead and put those counters on one of your creatures, and it's going to be 6 counters, 6/1/1 counters. So it looks a lot better. These two look a lot better with Aragorn, and they're fantastic here. Even with like an Impakal, it's just like getting kind of outrageous, like with the synergy in that manner. Eowyn the Shield Maiden, you gotta love it. Like go turn Aragorn and then have it turn with Eowyn, and then you're creating more humans. You're definitely going to reach that criteria sooner than later for having 6 more humans to draw, and you're just going to be creating more and more more and more creatures. So very cool card for us. And then Serac, the Dragonclaw. The fact that we're going to get that trample is just really nice. And that's just like a really nice effect, of course. And trample for all of our other creatures will have trample. And then creature spells you control can't be countered, and this spell can't be countered itself. Just a very interesting 6/6 flash human we have here. Okay, now we have Domri. Just kind of center that a little bit. And Domri is really cool too. Domri is just going to be able to give us a nice 1/0 buff on all of our creatures. Really nasty in a 1-versus-1 format, especially because this thing will come down and our Bird of Paradise versus another opponent's Bird of Paradise will simply be able to fight because that bird will have a 1/0 buff and be able to take out their 0/1 bird without dying. And it's really nasty. I've seen instances of that. And it's like, ew, Domri, that's gross. Like, and you're getting so ahead on your mana because now you're up a bird and you have Domri that's going to create more and more mana. What a fantastic card this is. Just unbelievable. And add red or green creature spells you cast this turn can't be countered. Fantastic. Anzrag is just like our spirit animal for this deck. This thing is an 8/4 for 4 mana. Just have you guys ever seen anything such as this? It's like unheard of stuff. Obviously, it doesn't do the greatest in combat with the 4 toughness, but usually this thing is taking out like 2 things at once. And what's really interesting about that, when you pump into it, it's going to untap all your creatures, whether it dies or not, through that first combat. It's going to have to be blocked, whoever you're attacking. And then all your other creatures that swung, they're going to get another round of go. So it's really interesting. That extra combat step is really interesting overall. And whenever it becomes blocked in general, it will simply just give you another combat step. So it's a really threatening creature overall. Really good with Aragorn. Here's Omnath, just a really cool card to like trigger all 4 modes of Aragorn. It's one of our rare cards that actually does that. It will draw a card upon entering the battlefield, which we love. As we have extra lands enter the battlefield for any circumstances, we'll also get some additional triggers. We do play a variety of fetch lands. We do not have like the, expensive, fetch lands in this particular deck, but we find creative ways to, play some of the new Capenna fetch lands, for instance, that will gain life. We'll have like Evolving Wilds. So we can still have like our triggers with Omnath and our Lotus Cobras. They're not going to be sad. So we love it. Here's Roxanne. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Ooh, meteorites, so good. And this one is great because it's going to enter the battlefield and take out like a creature or just be annoying. Might like put our opponent in a tough blocking situation for the turn. If we can get this thing really going, I just like that it creates that meteorite that starts producing mana too. And if we get another attack off of this, it just gets even better. When this gets really interesting is when the Annie joins up. That's when it gets really, really interesting because you're like creating double meteorites. It's like a panharmonicon upon entering and attacking. You're going to love that. Here's Minsc and Boo, like probably the most busted like four mana like planeswalker in Gruul colors. Just the fact that it just creates this nasty perpetual hamster is really kind of inevitable, and that you can just sacrifice it for cards like whenever you like really want to and decide to. So just a really strong, it can even be buffed up, that hamster, and you can draw more cards and fling more damage to your opponent's faces. So really cool. The amount of like removal you get from these legendaries is kind of atrocious. Like Kogla is just very good in that manner, where you can just enter the battlefield and fight. Kogla and Yudaro similarly enters the battlefield and will fight something, or you can have it gain trample and haste till end of turn. You can also cycle this from your hand to destroy an artifact or enchantment, and of course by cycling you will draw, and it will just go right back in your library. Fantastic. These all trigger Aragorn in really good ways. Omnath, Locust of Rage, just a crazy elemental. Like this thing comes on the battlefield and just starts creating 5/5s as you have lands enter the battlefield. It's absolutely wild. Here's your Rennie. This is just a really busted Dragonstorm Tarkir card, and it will deal X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers your opponents control, where X is the number of lands you control upon entering, and it's a 10/10 flying. Protection from white and black, so basically it's really awful against like your opponents that are playing like black or white. They're going to hate this card. Sakama just has like another massive, payoff. Just to get into the late game and just start really going to town as like a heavy hitter, or simply getting this through like with a Doors of Durin, and on a later turn taking advantage of the modes. I mean, you have to cast it to get the untapped lands, but simply having a 9/9 enter that has a really kind of relevant modes that will dictate to the board is very nice. Here's the Doors of Durin. One of my favorite cards, and it's not even close for this particular deck, really works well with Bar Class. I love Bar Class because it reduces your red and green mana symbols when you pump that up for 2 mana. And this would simply be 3 generic mana. And you just have to attack with any of your creatures. You can scry 2, and then if you have a creature amongst those 2, you're going to want to put that on top. And you reveal it, and it'll be tapped and attacking. It's really interesting. So, really cool card. Really like to have a side quest to get your Rennie Or yeah, or Ureni would be very cool, or a Roxy, like off of Doors of Durin. Here's Skrelvi. Skrelvi is just that little guy here hanging out, the legendary 1-mana spell. You'd love to see a little protection there. Now I have some really cool, like just kind of amazing Aragorn synergies, like just gonna give us all those modes. Very like very affordable to cast. Gets us into some cards. We can start buffing up our stuff. I do like Rocco for this deck. Gwen is also just a really cool mana dork as well. So basically just going to let us play some nice creatures. It's going to untap when Aragorn, for instance, is utilized with her, tapping her to add the 2-mana combination to cast Aragorn. We'll reach that criteria because Aragorn is 5 or more power, and then we get to put a 1/1 counter on Gwen Eyes of Gaia and untap it and do it all over again. So you'll love to see it. Definitely probably use more in like your combo S decks that like to see like tapping and untapping. There's definitely some Helga, for instance, comes to mind when I think of that. Rada, Heart of Keld, you'll love to see it, guys. Just another nice legendary. Let us play lands off the top of our deck. Who doesn't love that? We just love that. We got to hit our land drops. We got to keep that land gas flowing. And we need to get those lands off the top of our deck to get to other spells. So just overall, a really cool option. Cloth is also just like a really nice spell that will kind of accelerate us, kind of dictate some of the graveyard by removing things from the graveyard if we don't like some of the stuff we see in there. And in that manner, we can just create mana. So if it was a land card that this is removed at our, after our draw step, we'll get to add red or green, and we get access to more mana. This thing can also become a 4/5, So it just has like some really nice options there. Avacyn's Pilgrim. This one will create a 1 white mana for 1 green. Fantastic. Elvish Mystic. This will create 1 green for that 1 mana. Love it. We have a Lenore Elf, so that's 1 green mana to create 1 green. Bird of Paradise. This is 1 green mana. It will add any mana of any color to our mana pool. Play this ability only as an interrupt. Beautiful. So it'll create 1 mana of any of our type. Any type we need for 1 green. Fantastic. Fanatic is kind of a splurge. It's kind of like a $4 or $5 card, but it's just so good. So good with Aragorn especially. You're just going to have like 4 green mana available all of a sudden. And it's not Bloom Tender price. It's not like $15. So that doesn't like kill your bank. Maybe under-repped. It's probably like going up in price as we speak. It's just like very strong. Lotus Cobra is like a $10 card. I didn't even know that. But let me know if you guys want that part of the giveaway too. If you comment low tie, I'll put it in too, just for you homies that stuck around this long. Low tie. Yeah, it's $10 now. I have a bunch of them. I bought them when they were like, $3. So I have like 6. But yeah, also like kind of in the splurge. I literally like fashioned the deck so I could play like a Lotus Cobra and Omnath basically to make them semi-decent. So thank them. Well, and honestly, you need the mana fixing anyways. So this thing just simply sees lands enter the battlefield and will create mana of any color as a land enters. So really good with fetch lands where you have 2 instances of lands entering the battlefield like simultaneously, obviously. Just 2 more mana. You love to see it. Fabro Elder, this is just a really cool card for us. This one will see the colors of Aragorn and be able to produce 4 mana at once. It can also attack in with Vigilance, so it's not like just sitting there. So for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. So Aragorn is 4 colors, so it will produce 4. If it just sees itself, it will produce 2 colors, so it's not that bad in any regard. Nature's Lore, just like, it's like $1. You just search up a forest, put it on the battlefield. Fantastic. It can be untapped too, which is really interesting about that. The Farseek will also search for plain islands or swamp cards, so it kind of gives us a variety. And we definitely want some variety when we're searching for our lands. Kodama's Reach or Cultivate, they do the similar fashion. Searches up a basic one and searches up 2 basics in your library. 1 will go to the battlefield, 1 goes to hand. Fantastic. Roar of the Challenge. This is a really nice sorcery spell for us. I've seen it like with Thalia and the Get Rod monster. Like, imagine putting that onto her and just swinging with a first strike death touch, and that's really nasty, right? So all creatures able to block target creature this turn do so. Very good with Aragorn. Turn Aragorn to a 9/9 or one of our other creatures that have higher power, and swing in with this, and they'll have indestructible as they swing, and that opponent's creatures will have to block. All creatures able to block target creature this turn do so. Very interesting. Frees us up. We love to be freed up. So free. Here's Unable to Scream. And this is like the blue moval. This is like a really interesting option because, you kill a commander and it will come back, right? But Unable to Scream kind of just sits on like a commander, and like the opponent like is kind of sitting there. Like if they don't have a way to like sacrifice it or get it back into their command zone, it kind of just sits there like as an O2 with no abilities. It's a really nasty spell. So I do like the Unable to Scream, and we're going to try one of them. Kind of be like the blue Swords to Plowshares. Then you have your Utopia Sprawl to give yourself an additional mana. Simply attach this to a forest. I actually might have to reconsider this for like perhaps like another mana dork, maybe the Elysian Caryatid, because we don't have many forests in this deck that have the namesake forest, so this actually will have to be cut. So we'll put in an Elysian Caryatid for that card. But Utopia Sprawl in general, if you have like lots of forests, are good. Or ways to fetch up forests, it does get a lot better in particular. I mean, we do have quite a bit of fetch lands, so Utopia Sprawl might still be semi-good, but it probably won't be the best. Here's Bard class, and this is definitely a card to read. So this is a red and green enchantment. Legendary creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on them. Perfect. Red and green, legendary spells you cast red and green less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay. So you level this up by simply paying in 2 more mana, so we have a 4 mana investment. But now all of our legendaries that have red and green in their mana cost, that will just be reduced. And you basically would see that as not there anymore. So Aragorn would simply become a white and blue costed spell, and 2 mana total at that point. So the red and green would be removed. And also, you can see that will really free you up to play lots of legendaries cheaply. And then for 3, a red and a green, whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. Fantastic. Here's Annie Joins Up. Oh my God, this is probably the best card in our deck, and it's probably not even that close. Just imagine giving like Panharmonicon to all your legendaries, and also setting off all of Aragorn's modes is really cool when you do cast this with Aragorn on the battlefield. We'll do 5 damage to a target creature or planeswalker. If a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So all of our Aragorn triggers will be set off an additional time. It's pretty amazing. And all of our triggers for legendaries in general. So all our fights, creatures do fight spells or do removal. They're all going to be fantastic. Ruby loves these videos because she's not with her dad. Swords to Plowshares. This is a 1 mana instant. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Wonderful. Amazing removal. 1 mana instant speed. Just take it out, exile it, and they just gain life equal to its power. No problem. Path to Exile will actually give them a land, but who cares? I've really grown on this card. I am a believer. I mean, simply exile a creature. They can have a land. I mean, they're going to be set back like 70% of the time. And for 1 mana, I'm willing to have that risk for them to have a land for that creature. It's definitely growing on me, guys. Lightning Bolt, just very dependable removal. For 1 red, you love to see it. Lightning Bolt deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Wash Away, just really annoying spell to hit our commanders. For 1 blue, it's really naughty stuff. Counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand. This will even hit stuff like in the Adventure Zone. Things that can be things like Uro, such as that, like they kind of stay in like some, weird flashy back zone. There's so many like zones that aren't from the hand. And this will hit all of them for 1 blue. And additionally, you can just simply play this for a counter spell for 2 blue and 1 generic, so it's very versatile. Strict Serenade also will just hit creatures, artifacts, or planeswalkers. Their controller will create a 2/2 bird creature token with flying. So very similar to Wash Away, just very good against commanders. I don't think you want to be like too bogged down with counter spells. I mean, the 1 mana ones are pretty good, and just I think counter spell is good. We also play a Dovin's Veto because it will trigger Aragorn, so it's really nice. Growth Spiral is a really cool instant speed spell where it'll give us some card advantage, and we can also put a land from our hand onto the battlefield for little rampies. Manamorphose, we definitely splurged on this one. Just like fantastic with Aragorn, just because it just sets his modes off and it just like rekindles that action for more mana and an additional card. A very cool cantrip for us overall to keep the gas flowing. Counterspell just for some nice interaction. Counter target spell for blue. You love to see it. Dovin's Veto, just another amazing one. This was just counter any non-target creature spell, and this simply cannot be countered. So very, very strong. Just says pretty much no to all your opponent's non-creatures things. And that's it. That's over, right? Simply cannot be countered. So I love that, and just kind of hitting Aragorn's modes is just bonus. Stomp for some nice land removal. I say that because you can play this on the other side tapped. And I like that it can produce red and green. It's probably very underrated in that manner, that it simply can fix your mana very well just by playing it like on an early turn cycle. And it can also just be used as a deal damage spell based on that creature's power. It's just incredible. Setting off Aragorn's modes isn't too bad either. Bridgewater's Battle for another fight spell that can also be a land. I do believe you can pay 3 life for that one to become untapped, which is really crazy. Legion Leadership is also crazy, just hitting all of Aragorn's modes here. Can be played as a tapped red or white spell, which is great, or land. And then otherwise, you can just give double strike and first strike at instant speed to your creature if you choose to use this at instant speed as its spell side or instant side. Pestil's Fury, kind of like more of a meme card. Like, will it work? Like, in certain circumstances, it will. It might be like that last little, push you need to like get in for damage, right? You might have a really good strong sequence and might just need to sacrifice your Aragorn and deal like 9 damage to someone's face. I mean, it just might be that. So Cthulhu's Fury is really interesting that way. It can also be just played as a tapped land for mountains. Jawari Disruption, I always like kind of teeter on this card, but it always comes back. So I do believe it just kind of should be in every deck for me that has blue. It's just so versatile. It can be played as a land. It can be played as a counter spell, and it's usually pretty good. Counter target spell unless its controller plays 1, or you can play it as its tap side. Just comes in play tapped as an island or a blue source. Now let's just go into the mana base here. That's definitely like was the way we kind of like kept this like nice and kind of kind of affordable. We definitely play temples. We definitely play some slow lands. So we have like a good assortment of slow lands here. Definitely have some of the fetch lands. We do splurge on a Fabled Passage, but then we also have these really cheap New Capana lands that will fetch and gain you life, different types of basics that match our colors. Terramorphic Expanse, Riveter's Outlook, Evolving Wilds. We have another temple here, so we play a couple temples, which is kind of nice. And then we play all like the pain lands. The pain lands are just so affordable, and I love the mana on here. Actually, it's no stress express, guys. Like all the colors are represented here. It's just very easy stuff. So in that manner, it's going to be very nice. A little skewed towards green because we do have a lot of green spells, lots of green ramp in the early instances, and then just like a nice variety of rainbow lands that are cheap, like Exotic Orchard, Command Tower, fast lands. And I would probably play more fast lands. I just don't have too many of them, so I just have these pathways in here. But I'd probably kind of err on that side of more fast lands, and probably all the slow lands would probably be good. And you'd still be running around like $105. But as this deck is coming to you hot today, this is right here on the money at like $100.80. So yeah, it's probably one of my better and fun things to do overall in Magic was to kind of bring you these things. The lives have been doing very good. Just because we just been building the decks on the stream, and we happened to build this one on stream, and it was awesome. So yeah, it performed really well. We definitely had, I think we probably had like a lot of people scooping to this deck because it was just very strong in general. And I think it kind of tuned it up pretty nicely. We got in some more like EDH choices that are just simply busted, like the Minsk and Boo. We played the nerf versions in Brawl. They're 1 more mana and they're still good. In this manner, they're so strong, just at like the 4 mana spot. You know, obviously Anzrag is insane. We get an EO in. You don't have that in Brawl. So there's lots of cards like even General Ferris Rockrit that we don't get in Brawl, but we get in EDH, and they're just simply, the card quality is fantastic for this. And I can't wait to try it. Winota just seems absolutely redonkulous. Like, you know, the first time you might whiff on this, but like as you get more and more, you know, non-creatures attacking, it kind of gets really, really crazy. So I'm excited. I'm super excited just for like kind of see like the angles and the lines for this deck. But overall, I'm very excited. So let's just kind of take a look at it. And this is Aragorn the Uniter. This is $100, baby. So just remember that we are giving away about 6 or 7 cards. If you have the keyword from the long video, let me know, because that will also like let you have a Lotus Cobra involved in this. And that would be very cool, guys. So remember to like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is a $100 Legend Matters deck for Aragorn. It's got some fantastic cards. Some that you'd love to see, like Galta and Mavrin. Ureni, oh my God, these cards are just like so strong. Jet Mirrors in here. Those cards like alone can just solo games, you know, they just like the value. There's so much value. Oh, there's Jet Mirror, beautiful. And the Galta and Mavrin, just these beautiful cards. You know, you're just accelerating so fast with mana, and you're just like dictating the board with creatures, and that's definitely a thing you can do in Magic. You can definitely win with just playing creatures. So this is a legendary deck, and there's our sweet little budgety mana base, and we got this in for $100. So have a great night, everybody. See you soon. Let me know if you liked it. Bye-bye.